Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second day of the J conference. My name is Matjaž Juric. I will be hosting this session. And I'm pleased to welcome Mrs. Emily Jiang. She will present a very interesting topic on the MicroProfile. So MicroProfile 4.1, 5 and beyond. Emily, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Day 2 Java Champion Conference. I hope you enjoyed the Day 1 conferences as much as I did. There were so many really nice sessions. So I'm Emily Jiang. I work for IBM. I'm the MicroProfile and Jakarta EE architect for IBM. So in today's talk, I'm going to talk about a MicroProfile, the last year's release 4.1, 5.0, and also the beyond. So let's do quickly do a level set about MicroProfile. And there's some people mentioned, oh, there's so many framework and so many open source community. Why MicroProfile? Actually, back in the 2010 and then after a few years, microservices were booming. There's so many people rushed to develop microservices. We have many Java developers. We want to write really fast and microservices. However, if people complained about Spring too complex, and at the same time, Java EE is stagnant. So it's which is the reason why it's kind of comes with the MicroProfile. So basically, due to the different reasons I listed, and back in 2016, IBM, Red Hat, Payara, Tommy Tribe, and others, we got together and created a MicroProfile. So it's the first release was in 2016. That's based on the Java EE 7. And very quickly, we created a MicroProfile config for tolerance, health metrics, JWT, OpenAPI, Open Tracing, REST client, and so on. And then it's because of the success of MicroProfile, and Oracle decided to rehome Java EE. So it's with that, like in September 2017, Java EE moved to Eclipse Foundation. And then, as you know, it's been went through the rebranding from Java EE to Jakarta EE, and also following on the changing namespace from JavaX to Jakarta. As you can see from this release timeline, so it's after MicroProfile was created, every year we had 3 releases pretty much. And till 2020, because it was MicroProfile was so successful, and Eclipse Foundation said, right, you need to establish kind of the working group. Basically, MicroProfile has become a spec community. So it's developed the standard APIs for the Java developers for developing cloud-native applications. However, MicroProfile is always works very well with Java EE and Jakarta EE. So you can see in the 1.0 is based on the Java EE 7, and then 2 and based on Java EE 8, and then 4 because the Java EE moved to Eclipse Foundation and then rebranded to be a Jakarta EE, and then pulled in the dependency Jakarta EE. And then last year, and Jakarta EE released 9.1, and then towards the end last year, and MicroProfile 5 was released based on the Jakarta EE. So with this huge, effort in MicroProfile, so it also demonstrates MicroProfile and Jakarta EE are very complementary to each other. So if you are interested in the development and also the future of the Jakarta EE, and tune into the session Eva Grimstan will do about Jakarta EE 10, so which will be released this year, 2Q this year, Jakarta EE10. So in this session, I'm going to focus on last year's release and also look beyond. So it's last year we released 4.1. So it's basically it has one spec update, which is MicroProfile Health 3.1. And in the meanwhile, we worked on the MicroProfile 5. So this MicroProfile 5 basically is aligned with Jakarta EE 9.1. So basically that means MicroProfile, all of the specs change the dependency from JavaX to Jakarta. So it's all of the specs have major releases because of the dependency change. And also toward the end, I will talk about what we are going to focus this year in MicroProfile community. So I will also do a demo. So if you don't understand the MicroProfile, probably you will learn something from the demo. So MicroProfile 4.1 was released in July 2021. So the MicroProfile 4.1 is kind of the have the MicroProfile Health update, which is 3.1. If you don't know MicroProfile Health, basically this is directly connect your cloud native applications with the cloud infrastructure like Kubernetes. So MicroProfile Health is directly trying to help cloud native applications and deploy to Kubernetes and provide you help with all the props like liveness prop and readiness prop from Kubernetes. So if you know Kubernetes, you know in November 2020, Kubernetes 1.16 was released. It introduced the startup prop. Why the startup prop? So it was introduced trying to fix the slow and big microservices. Maybe they are kind of modular monoliths and etc. So it's a very slow start. And for this kind of microservice or modular monoliths, and then it's kind of the liveness probe keep on fading, and then you keep on restarting your application. So that's why we need the kind of gate. We need to say, okay, when can you check the liveness probe? So basically, startup probe is saying, okay, before I succeed, do not check the liveness or readiness in my microservices. So it's MicroProfile Health in response to the startup probe. It added the annotation at the startup for you to code up your microservices and put in some business logic about what kind of startup check you want. And also it exposed the endpoint /health/start in addition to the /health/live and /health/ready. So you got this startup prop, this is the liveness prop, this is the readiness prop. So from this picture, you can see MicroProfile is very cloud native kind of oriented. Is sit very closely with cloud native infrastructure. So this is the picture of the 4.1. In addition to the MicroProfile Health 3.1, we also properly acknowledge that actually MicroProfile also depend on the Jakarta annotations. So you can see here. So this is all the Jakarta the specifications. These 8 MicroProfile specifications. And also I mentioned earlier, MicroProfile was established as a working group. So it's from the MicroProfile 4.0, all of the releases need to follow the Eclipse Foundation spec process similar to Jakarta EE. So this is actually it's from the 4.1. Sorry, 4.0 was a marketing release. 4.1 was a proper the platform release, require compatible implementation. So basically, when we release 4.1, we need to make sure at least one implementation passed all of these 8 all of these 8 MicroProfile TCKs. So this is another picture, up to the MicroProfile 4.1. So on the left is the MicroProfile release 4.1. On the right-hand side, this is a standalone release. They don't belong to 4.1. However, they is standalone. They have their own release cycle. That's including reactive messaging, reactive stream operators, context propagation, GraphQL, and LRA. So for these standalone releases, we keep it as a standalone and let them mature. And when they mature and prove it's very useful, and then we can merge into the platform release. So the MicroProfile 4.1 implementation, we use the OpenTelemetry 2108-beta as a compatible implementation to release 4.1. And then OpenTelemetry 2109 is the first implementation for production use. And very quickly, Quarkus and Wildfly all has done their support MicroProfile 4.1. So please chat on the YouTube. Please tell me which MicroProfile spec, which MicroProfile release you use, and which runtime you use. I'll be very keen to know, how the MicroProfile was adopted. So it's in the meanwhile, the whole year, last year, we are trying to do a bigger bump, kind of the uplifting for MicroProfile base, like a Jakarta based on Jakarta 9.1. So finally, MicroProfile 5.0 was released on the 7th December at Java 1. So that day I announced at Jakarta 1. Jakarta 1 live stream. So I had a session to talk about MicroProfile. I announced the MicroProfile 5.0 release. I was really excited there. So it's MicroProfile 5. You can see is all the Jakarta spec has an update, like a Jakarta CDI, JSON-P, and just like a Jakarta RESTful web services, JSON-B, and annotations. They all got some major version change. And similarly, all of these 8 MicroProfile specifications had a major version change. And at the same time, the standalone release, the specification, context propagation 1.3 was released to support Jakarta 9.1, Jakarta EE 9.1. So at the moment, we are working on this, also the other standalone releases to align with Jakarta 9.1, Jakarta EE 9.1. So for MicroProfile 5.0, what's in MicroProfile 5.0? So it's basically it's kind of big alignment with the Jakarta EE 9.1. And all of these 8 MicroProfile component specifications and changed their dependency from JavaX to Jakarta. So some of them have API change, some like the API dependency change. Some of them they have to change the TCK. So we will run with the Jakarta EE 9.1. So because to help with the migration effort, we said, okay, there's no other functional change can be go into the MicroProfile 5. So it's the mainly is about the dependency change. For the implementation, also you think, okay, that's kind of change JavaX to Jakarta, and it's saying is quite simple. However, you have to change the source code, also change other files. So that's a big effort. And also the implementation need to consider to support, maybe someone want to support both. So for the implementation, there's a couple of choices. They either do a source level change. So basically they just directly change the import from JavaX to Jakarta. This is one way. Or maybe they have to maintain the different code base. One for JavaX, the other one for Jakarta .x, dot asterisk. So it's the second one is you use the Eclipse Transformer. So if you don't know the Eclipse Transformer, so basically it's a transform from one package to the other. So this was created by B.J. Hargrave from IBM, and then it's kind of the donated to Eclipse Foundation. So now it's open source. So log on to the Eclipse/Transformer, and if you are interested to use it, and there's a README to tell you how, or maybe contribute if you are interested. So also for the usage, in the OpenTelemetry blog, we have the Eclipse Transformer usage. So basically, you get a hold of Jiang, you directly run the Jiang. One of the usage is just put a target location and output location. So I will demo later on how to use this transformer to transform your existing application, cloud native application from JavaX namespace to Jakarta. So for MicroProfile 5 implementations, as I mentioned earlier, in order to release MicroProfile 5, you have to have an implementation, compatible implementation. So which is I did I was the technical lead for the whole MicroProfile 5.0 release in the community, and also I manage OpenTelemetry release the 22.0.1-beta for the support of MicroProfile 5.0. So in this case, once Liberty come out, 22.0.1-beta, and we prove all of these 8 MicroProfile TCKs passed successfully, and then we can push click the button. We can go through the ballot and etc. and release MicroProfile 5.0. And just this week is on the 18th, and OpenTelemetry 22.0.1 was released with the full support of MicroProfile 5.0. So you can there's some other runtime also working on it. I know it's Halligan working on it, and Payara also working on it. So there's some other runtime as well. So for OpenTelemetry, how did we do our own implementation for this MicroProfile 5.0 support? So basically, we use extensively about Eclipse Transformer. So we have one code base and then transform into 2 binaries. One is JavaX, the other one is Jakarta. So you can right now, because Jakarta namespace is the future, so JavaX is dead. So you need to, for all of your cloud native applications, if you use JavaX, now is the time for you to think about migration. So I highly recommend you move to the Jakarta 9.1 and together with MicroProfile 5 to minimum the minimum migration effort, because there's no other functional change. It's purely about namespace change. So you can use all the find command to do your change if your application is not complicated. And however, I highly recommend you can use Eclipse Transformer to do the very a detailed transform from JavaX to Jakarta. For binary transform, maybe some other GI you don't have the source code anymore, and you can use Eclipse Transformer. And if you are developing currently, if you are working on the brand new application, you consider to use Jakarta, consider to use MicroProfile, you should develop your application direct on Jakarta in 9.1 and MicroProfile 5. And then you can deploy to the runtime and support the both 9.1 and 5, such as OpenTelemetry. I'm sure others will announce their support very soon. So now is I quickly run through all these the background about 4.1 and 5.0 So I will do a quick demo about how can you transform your existing cloud native applications. And then also I will also show you the MicroProfile 401 as well. And let's look. Let's go to my IDE. So I use VS Code. I just demonstrate. I have nothing right now. I just demonstrate. Actually, I will create kind of from scratch about MicroProfile 4.0 application, and then I will transform to use MicroProfile 5. So I have a VS Code MicroProfile extension pack installed. So it's I just say a group ID, artifact ID. I choose 4.0. At the moment, the starter support of this is a kind of MicroProfile starter. So we are trying to release another MicroProfile starter with 4.1 support very soon. So now now I can choose maybe I can choose OpenTelemetry, Java SE. I choose Java SE 11, and I like Maven. So I will choose all of these MicroProfile specifications. We say okay. Let me generate to demo. So as you can see, now I have two microservices created. One is the service A, I have demonstrated of the REST client. So directly it's you can inject the client and directly it's call into the backend. And the config, so you can inject the property into variable. And health, at the moment is 4.0, support like a Lebanese probe, a Lebanese check, and also support a readiness check. And for metrics, so you can use the MicroProfile metrics annotation timed and etc. And OpenAPI, so you can add any OpenAPI annotations like a response and etc. And for the resilience, like a MicroProfile fault tolerance, you can say timeout, fallback, and etc. And also the security. So in MicroProfile, it use MicroProfile GWT. Basically, it pass on MicroProfile GWT. You can create like this. So this is it add MicroProfile GWT, just add two more claims, UPN and a group. So in this case, in the service B, in the backend, it can just say which one I allow you to, which access group allow you to invoke. So this is kind of rules allowed protected. So for that one, let me go to service A and can just start it with Liberty demo mode, and at the same time, and I go to service B. I go to the Liberty demo mode. So while it's running, so it's in this application, basically it's the kind of this is the client. This is directly call into the service B. So it's this endpoint. It's service B. So it's do something. You can see this is the kind of the only one operation, do something. And here is basically the interface. It's just do something. and then you just configure it to say, okay, I want you to invoke directly service B. It will directly go there. So let's just test it out. So the service A will be on the 9080. So this is a hello world. So that hello world, so directly go in the JAX hello world. So if I just say hello world, Java champion, G champion. So let's go in here, is automatically should restart and pick up the change, hello world G champion. And also you can call into the service B here and then process parameter value. Let's go to here. Let's go to the service B. If I change here, I say service B, this demonstrate actually this response is directly is from service B. So let's go here, is say service B. So basically it's a service A call into service B. So this is kind of all works perfectly, demonstrate what you have right now. And all I want to do is I want to migrate to the Jakarta namespace. So it's basically let's stop it. So what can you do then? The first thing, what can you do? So this is the same MicroProfile 4. So all you need to do, okay, I want 5, MicroProfile 5. And let me change the OpenTelemetry to the latest Maven plugin. And also, I also want to deploy to the use the MicroProfile 5. So, and I can do the same thing for service B. So I change this one. So this one will be updated in the starter anyway, very soon. So I just change this one to be 5. And at the same time, I change the server XML. So basically, instead of using 4.0, I use 4. So as you can see here, I got red all over. So that's because it's 5.0 don't have the JavaX support. You have to what you can do if you want. If you just have a little bit dependency, you can JavaX. Maybe you just go manually change your source code. However, I have so many. I don't have that patience to go through and change this. And for this red one, I can see it. However, in some other files, and IDE won't tell me. So I will miss things. So with that, that's why it's kind of the Eclipse Transformer come handy. So here, all I can see, I can say, at the moment I want to use the Eclipse Transformer to transform it. You can see Java manager, Eclipse Transformer, and the source, I see, because this is a JC, I see JC Jakarta. So this is the source. This is kind of the which one you want to transform. This is the destination. And while it's doing that, let me go to the transformer, the blog on the OpenTelemetry about Eclipse Transformer. So this was written by Thomas Bettanti. He works for IBM, also active committer on the Eclipse Transformer project. So it's basically there's many configuration you can use to transform from package A to package B. And then you can build a random transformer and build an artifact yourself, or you can download one. So I just downloaded one. And then you can just use this one. you can just run the command. So this is the command I use, target location and output location. And there's some other configuration you can do as well if you have very complicated application. So it's, the following is about OpenTelemetry related configuration. If you are using kind of the, if you're using other runtime and up to here is all useful to you. So I think that, yeah, nearly done the transform. So when it's finished, it will, we can go to JC-Jakarta. So if you are using OpenTelemetry, the other things I want to mention, because Jakarta EE 8 and to Jakarta EE 9, there's some other spec change. So if you know OpenTelemetry, there's some feature, like I said, MicroProfile 5.0 and 4.0. And similarly, there's some other Jakarta EE features as well. So there's a kind of, this is the kind of is a comparison between the E8 is the corresponding will be the like app client support, become app client support 2. This is just a version change. And there's some other features you got like a wording change as well. So it's all done. So let's go to like JC-Jakarta. Let me start. So you can see the JC-Jakarta has just been transformed. So it has 2 services, service A and service B. So let's have a look and hopefully it's all being transformed. So as you can see here, all being transformed to Jakarta, and there's no red whatsoever. So it's all good. And here, let's see. Yeah, it all looks good. Let's start them. So let's go to service A. Let's go to, let me clean it. Okay, dev. Let's start that. At the same time, let's go to service B. Make sure to have a clean start. So they should start the application using MicroProfile 5. So basically, it should install the 5. So as you can see, is basically is kind of is use 2201 like Liberty and start, and then is up running is on the 9080. So let's go to the let's go to the 9080 to see. As you can see here, yeah, all up running and without any problem. And here is saying "Hello World Java Champion." So that's exactly the same as before it was transformed. So let's go back to have a look. Like let's just say whether you want to continue the development. So here, if I don't want to say hard code Java Champion, I could even use MicroProfile config. I can say add index, config property. I can say name equals conference. I can say string conf. Yeah, and here instead of saying "Hello World Java Champion," I can just say conf. And I start. So here, let's go have to look at it. Got error straight away. It said failed to inject for the key conference. Yeah, that's because I have not defined the conference anywhere. So the way to define the conf, you can just put it in your any configure sources, such as MicroProfile-configured properties. So you can just say conference or system variable or the system property or environment variable. So if I say Java 1010 2022. Save that. And then he's automatically pick up the change and restart the app. So let's see. Yeah, you can see the change straight away. So let's test some other change. So all this injection and this fault tolerance, as you see, this is health. So this is kind of the health check, liveness check, and also this is the readiness check for this endpoint. And here is the metrics, and here is the metrics page. You can see all the base metrics and vendor metrics of the class loader and etc. Vendor metrics and also application metrics. So here is different heading. And then application metrics, if you know metrics well, you can all understand this. So, and also it has Open API. If you know Swagger, this is looks familiar. In OpenTelemetry, we also have a UI. So you can see UI, and you can see all the endpoint. You can even invoke it. Similarly, for the REST client, so you can directly call into service B. You can remember here the service B. And to demonstrate security, here is directly called the secure endpoint. So it's for the security, I explained briefly last time. So basically, you create a token and then pass a token to the backend. So here is a pass a token. So it's pass a header JWT. So it's create a JWT and pass. When you invoke, you can pass it as a header. So here, this method is create a JWT token. Because it worked because it has belong to the group protected. If here I change it to be super, and then this the invocation should get rejected. So here is a backend is service B refused to let you invoke that backend. So in order to change that, so here I just go back protected. So can go back here. And the other thing is in the backend. So it's in the backend service B. You can even poke into the JSON web token. So this is a secure backend. So you can inject any particular claim, and at the same time, if you want, you can even inject JSON web token. So here you can say token. We can take a look at that. Let's go have a look. So you can see all the JSON web token here, and yeah, this is like a MicroProfile JWT. Also, like it supports open tracing. So it's all of the things we have done with and I have Yaga is running in the background. So it's here Yaga client running in the background. So the JC, you can see find traces, and then you can see the invocation, etc. is have a span and then come up with one trace. So it's all like correlation ID or propagated. So this is a demonstrator all working perfectly with this is with the migration from the 4.0 or even earlier version and to MicroProfile 5. So that in that's kind of a quick run through MicroProfile 5. For the 4.1, so basically it's added startup probe. So how can you use it? So if here I can just say service startup, let's check Java. And then I just say implement, let's check. So I just add this one. So in order to do the startup, we just let's say annotation with the startup and also make it a CDI bin. Let's do a application scope. So one instance. So here I just need to say, okay, you can put any kind of business, you can put in any kind of the health check logic, like for startup, is maybe it's kind of you poke some endpoint and make sure it's up, and then you say, okay, I'm startup finished. So here I just for demo purpose, I just say health check response dot up. Yeah, say Emily startup check. We save that. Now here. So if you go to like a localhost 9080, and remember this one is started. So you can see Emily startup check. So this is all in JSON format. So you can put this as HTTP GET into your Kubernetes startup probe. So that's kind of the quick run through of the demo of the MicroProfile 5 and also the MicroProfile 4.0. So as you can see from migration point of view, you just need to change your POM if you're using POM, using Maven. And also if you're using Liberty, just change the runtime, like from the old version to the new version. And then you can use the transformer to transform it. So that's the kind of the, how do you deal with for the existing kind of applications. What if you are create brand new applications? So I have brand new applications. We have like OpenTelemetry Starter. So basically, if I go to the starter.microprofile.io is MicroProfile Starter. Starter.openliberty.io is Liberty Starter. So basically, you can say, okay, starter demo, maybe it's Liberty demo. And you can choose, by the way, OpenLiberty supports like 8, 11, 17 for the like all of the Jakarta EE and MicroProfile releases. So you can even choose 17. Okay, I'm choose 11, and here I can choose 9.1, the same, and then it's MicroProfile 5. So you can see generate a project. So Liberty demo. make it bigger. So Liberty demo, let me go to the new terminal. If I start it, you can see here, like it has a Docker file. So it's basically Java 11, OpenG9, and a Docker file, and also create a source. So it's basically have a JAX application, and also the Open Liberty Service XML to have Jakarta E 9.1 and MicroProfile 5. And POM it has 9.1 and 5. So what you can do, for example, maybe I just like I say hello world, hello. So I could just say here, I create a JAX resource. Here I just say public string greeting. Here just return hello from Java Champion Conference. And it's I need just do a get. Need do a path. Just say greeting. Okay, let me stop my application here. And then save this one. So I can just say Liberty Deck. And it will install Jakarta E91 and the MicroProfile 5. So it's that's kind of the demonstrate how to directly use the new starter directly create a greenfield application straight away using the new Jakarta namespace. So while it's doing all this kind of the installation and etc., you see, and it will start up very quickly. So let's go to the here to say. So basically in the Jakarta EE and then all Java EE, so you can choose all different versions as well. The other thing, if you want to learn about MicroProfile, so Open Liberty guides, so it has many tutorials for you. So it's guides, and if you search MicroProfile, basically you can click on there. And there's many guides between 15 to 30 minutes. So you can see here, you don't even need to do it have the environment requirement. You can just run in the cloud. And as you see, it shows all up running. So if I just do, I don't really want to work out the my endpoint, you can just use the OpenAPI and then UI to work out. Here is Liberty demo, greetings, and then you can try it out. execute, and all run successfully. Can download that. You can see Hello Java Champion Conference. So that's the kind of demonstrate how to use the starter to create like a brand new application. That's kind of the demo. So it's here is kind of has the URL for the starter. So let's spend another few minutes to talk about what's next. So in the MicroProfile 2020, we want to focus more on the MicroProfile development, like all the technical issues and etc. We want to adopt Jakarta EE widely, including all the demo samples. And also in the standalone spec, we want to also align with the Jakarta EE9. For the tracing, earlier I demonstrated the Yaga, all these trees and etc. In the background, actually, the MicroProfile Open Tracing was doing all the heavy lifting. As you know, like Open Tracing and Open Sensors merged into OpenTelemetry. So at the moment, we are working on the MicroProfile OpenTelemetry project, basically adopting the new OpenTelemetry specification. And for the metrics, earlier I showed you all the metrics. Basically, is we heavily depend on the drop wizard. And now is if you have, I think if you have paid a lot of attention to the metrics world, micrometer seems very popular. So at the moment, the spec group also trying to work out the strategy how to put a micrometer, basically allow MicroProfile metrics implementation to utilize micrometer. Also, we want to evolve new specifications. We want to see which area we still need to cover. And there's a plan to start a converter spec, so converter from one type to the other type. And also we have plan about gRPC spec. However, there's a kind of Jakarta gRPC proposal. At the moment is being discussed. Maybe we join an effort under Jakarta to make a progress. Also is I mentioned earlier about standalone specs and also platform component specs. For this standalone spec, we have reactive messaging, reactive stream operators, GraphQL, context propagation, RI. So we want to evaluate it, and maybe some spec are mature enough, important enough, they should merge to platform. Release, such as GraphQL. For the reactive spec, and someone think is very important, but others don't. So maybe they still remain standalone. For the context propagation, so this is very important. Also, there's the Jakarta concurrency. So that's a natural fit for a context propagation to move to the Jakarta concurrency. So we are trying to do some a move from context propagation to Jakarta concurrency. Also, in this year's Jakarta EE10, there's a Jakarta core profile. So basically, it was created to be adopted. Basically, it's with the aim to be adopted by MicroProfile. So also, we want to evaluate that adoption. Apart from that, also we want to evaluate whether we want to use beam validation in some other specs. Also, is the next one is about data access spec. So it's to utilize some really nice features from Hibernate or the Spring Data and etc. So that's again, this is all in discussion. Maybe there's a joint effort exercise with Jakarta EE. And then plus others like improve alignment with like a cloud and native infrastructures. Also about maybe we should move the source code level to Java 11. At the moment is Java 8. So this is a kind of quick run through about OpenTelemetry. So it's a proposal. We adopt OpenTelemetry tracing. So to start with, we provide 3 levels of instrumentation, automatic, so all the JAX invocation, so they will be automatically being traced. And the manual instrumentation, like you can inject a tracer, span, and etc. And also, you can utilize OpenTelemetry Java instrumentation. So it's basically all the data will be like a trace without any code modification. And plus, because we are focused on the like a Java EE, Jakarta EE technologies, we want to have a rich integration with the CDI. So you can allow the OpenTelemetry or tracer or span or package injected into your application. So that's a quick, a blueprint or the proposal for OpenTelemetry MicroProfile. So in the metrics, again, I mentioned we pull in allow implementation to pull in micrometer. However, the spec itself don't have a dependency on micrometer. And then also the group trying to provide a same layer for application for the implementation to use. So they can continue support the current, we can continue to use the current MicroProfile metrics APIs. So in the looking forward in the 2022, we want to skip the February release and directly go to, normally we have 3 releases, February, July, and October. And because we released like a 5, MicroProfile 5 at end of December, between December and February to close. So we haven't got much runway to do a February release. We'll focus on July release. So in July release, we might just remove MicroProfile Open Tracing from the platform, replaced by the MicroProfile Open Telemetry. And also, hopefully, we can have a release MicroProfile Metrics 5.0 and plus other updates. And also consider the standalone spec like a GraphQL input, into the platform release. So this is all the discussion point. For the October release, we haven't started planning as yet. So in order to make all this goal achieved and also focus on innovation, we really, really need your help. Please get involved in the MicroProfile activities. So this is kind of some links like MicroProfile.io and also the blog and also the starter and the transformer for you to take away. So finally, last year I published, I co-authored the book. I was also a lead author, Practical Cloud Native Java Development with MicroProfile. So if you are developing cloud native applications, I want to keep it simple, and please consider try it out with MicroProfile. So this book covers every MicroProfile specifications, explain the why and how and etc. So it's publicly available on Amazon. So this is QR code for you to scan, and then you can directly go to Amazon. So this is my Twitter handle. If you have any questions, if I don't have time to answer, and please DM me. So my DM is open. So with that, I'm done with this, and let's have a look at whether we have any questions.
Emily, thank you very much for the very interesting presentation. Actually, there are quite a few questions. I will read them and maybe you can answer them. So the first question was from Mustafa. Doesn't Helidon also use MicroProfile?
Yes, Helidon MP does. I know Helidon MP is also working on supporting MicroProfile 5.0.
The second question from Jan, when will Quarkus support MicroProfile 5.0?
I'm not sure. I don't want. I do not work on Quarkus. I think the Quarkus support for 4.1. I'm not sure what's their plan for 5.0 as yet.
As
Please
far as
ask
I'm
on the
informed,
Quarkus dev mailing list. I think they might give you a definite answer there.
right, but they will support MicroProfile 5.0 eventually, probably in one of the next major releases, as far as I'm informed.
Okay, thank you.
Will OpenLiberty support MP reactive messaging 2.0 sometime shortly? This is a question from Dirk.
Oh, hi, Bug. So OpenLiberty is has not supported, has not done the MicroProfile reactive messaging 2.0 as yet. Please open a GitHub issue on the OpenLiberty. So like reactive messaging is kind of the spec we are like implementation we are kind of trying to catch up. So it's yeah. I know I really would like to support a reactive messaging 2.0, and at the moment also is hopefully next week also is trying to do the reactive messaging 3.0, working on the 3.0 or the namespace change on the spec, so that it can work with the other MicroProfile 5 specs.
Alexander would like to know when will the starter support MicroProfile 5.0?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it's hopefully like next week we support 4.1, and my next task also I'm heavily involved in the starter MicroProfile Starter as well. So it's we want to support 5.0. Also we want to add the Java 17 as well there. Yeah, that's also on the roadmap.
Brett has a question regarding the MicroProfile, whether the MicroProfiles are focused on the IBM Cloud, GCP, or AWS.
Yeah, this is a very good question. So if you use MicroProfile, it should work with any cloud. So it's basically it's a cloud like it's support Kubernetes and etc. We have a really good guide on the OpenShift and etc. If you deploy to use the operator and etc. is managing all of your microservices. So it should support in the cloud without any problem.
Right. So actually the final question from Brett, MicroProfile or Spring Boot? Why or why not? He says that he's looking for the value over Spring Boot. Any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I actually, if you go to log on to YouTube, I did a few talks about MicroProfile and Spring comparison. Also, I wrote a blog about MicroProfile and a Spring comparison. If you Google for that, Emily Jiang, MicroProfile Spring, I have a very close comparison. This is how you do in Spring, this is how you do in MicroProfile, and towards the end, just list some differences. They are very similar. However, as in the beginning, I said MicroProfile is aimed to be very simple. As you can see, is when people come to my talk, they say, "Oh, I look for the PhD." or say algorithm, and then in my lab demo, and I say I try just to do a couple line code. It's really easy. So it's you don't need to have a very deep understanding of things. So you just use it so that you can just focus on your business logic. So simplicity and also diversity. There's about a dozen implementations, including Mati, the Cumulus EE, which you are working on as well, and OpenLiberty, Wildfly, Quarkus, Helidon, Piara, Tommy, you name it. It's many implementation. You don't have a vendor lock-in. So also we kind of work in the community. We discuss things and come from all different angles. So it's really make sure everybody on board and ensure the portability aspect as well.
Yeah, it's true that MicroProfile is maybe even simpler than Spring Boot, and in my opinion, probably the most important question is whether you come from a Java EE background or from the Spring framework. And if you come from Java EE background, then MicroProfile is the obvious choice, and it also lets you migrate existing applications to microservices much easier compared to Spring Boot. And of course, vice versa. If you come from Spring framework, then the Spring Boot would be the obvious choice.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. You were absolutely on the point. Yes.
Thank you very much. Emily, thank you again for the really interesting presentation. Thank you for attending and for all the interesting questions. And I invite you to join some other sessions today and then next week as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt, for being helping this session. It's great. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Okay, bye. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.